The media will have you believe that there's no money in the economy, and that's not the case for everyone. So I think the first thing that people should do is actually have that perception that people are still willing to buy.
Hello, I'm Holly Mackay.
And I'm Eshita Kabra-Davies. Welcome to our extra show where we talk about today's insights for tomorrow's challenges.
Yes, whether you're an established startup, a savvy small business, or indeed an established enterprise, we're going to bring you expert thinking on the big topics impacting small businesses everywhere today. So Eshita, tell me, what's coming up today?
This week, we're talking about the importance of adapting your sales strategy in a cost of living crisis, and 3 key steps to improving your customer relationships during these challenging times.
So without further ado, I'd like to welcome today's guest, Alison Edgar MBE. Alison, welcome to the show.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Alison, why don't you give us a little background about yourself?
So I'm Alison Edgar MBE, also known as the entrepreneur's godmother. So I've written a couple of books, Secrets of Successful Sales, which in 2018 was an Amazon #1 around the world. The Independent newspaper voted it one of the top business books written by a woman. And I also in 2020 wrote the book Smash It, The Art of Getting What You Want. But I left school at 16, later diagnosed as dyslexic, so no qualifications in business, but now run a company teaching sales, teaching leadership and speaking at events.
A common mistake for businesses when facing challenging times is that they change their marketing strategy instead of their sales strategy. Can you explain your views on what is actually the difference between marketing and sales in this context, and why is it important to change both of them, not just one?
Oh, I love this topic, literally love it. So I think when you start a business, and a lot of small businesses, they don't know the difference. So when you say sales and marketing, it's like they're conjoined. Sales and marketing, sales and marketing. They're two completely different things. And the other thing is operations also affects sales and how you generate your revenue. So what I did was when I wrote the first book, I tried to make it simple for people to understand. So I've got a little analogy that sales and marketing is like golf. So if we look at marketing, your website, your mail shots, your social media, they sort of tee up. So they put the tee in the ground and put the ball in the tee. And then sales, the salesperson, they then take the ball down the fairway, put the ball on the green and put the ball in the hole, because only when the ball goes in the hole do you make any money. So they have to work together. But if I do this at a live event, it's hilarious. Someone from marketing will put up their hand and say, "That's a load of rubbish, Alison. Us in marketing, what we do is we put the ball right beside the hole and you sales guys tap it in and take all the glory." But if your marketing is that good, if you've really created a brand that people want to buy for, if the brand story is good, then what will happen is it is that easy. It's when the human starts to get involved and you're having a conversation with another person. So again, if looking at a wholesale model, looking at a business to business model, that's when that comes into play. And somebody said, well, hang on, what about operations? You know, you're talking about sales and marketing, but what about the operations department? Well, they're like the greenkeepers, because if the grass hasn't been cut, if the bunkers haven't been raked, then people won't come back and play the course again. So actually business is like golf. And, you know, a lot of people are frightened of sales because when it comes to the human to human, there is a rejection. You know, most times in sales, it's littered with people telling us no thank you, or maybe not even with the thank you in there, ladies, it's just the no. And people then really hide behind their marketing in the hope that people will buy from them and they will get inbound inquiries. And I think that's one of the worst things that they can do. It's about being proactive and making sure that, the ball does actually go in the hole.
And Alison, if I can come to you, it's about sort of being proactive. But of course, times are incredibly tough for people at the moment. We can see the cost of living starting to really bite. I think there'd be some sort of salespeople perhaps listening, sort of saying, okay, Alison, but I need a wee bit of help to get that ball into the hole. So, talk to us about what you think about strategies such as discounting, for example, in climates like this, just to sort of give people that extra nudge.
Oh, I love this topic as well, because I think when times do get tough, and, I've worked in sales for over 25 years through recessions, and, we are going through a tough time. There's no disputing that. We've had a couple of years that people have really, a lot of businesses have really struggled to trade, and now they have to go back and do things differently. But I think one of the things for salespeople and entrepreneurial people, it's got to be that belief and that growth mindset, because if they go in with a fear, oh, I'm really sorry, I've had to put the price up, if they're leading with a lack of confidence, actually, if they're not confident in themselves and their pricing, well, neither will their customers. So there are different types, different reasons for the way people buy. And let's start with the first one, a prestige brand. So let's look at Rolex, for example. They don't ever discount, and there's a 2-year waiting list to get a Rolex watch. So I'm not saying everyone should be like Rolex, but they're really confident that they've created a brand, created demand for the brand. And actually, although, we are going through tough times in our economy, that's not the case for everyone. There are still people out there who have money to spend. And, I was speaking to someone the other day, and they had been they had been working through the pandemic but living back with their parents, and now they've saved so much money, they're out there ready to buy houses and cars. So again, it's that perception that the media will have you believe that there's no money in the economy, and that's not the case for everyone. So I think, if you assume that people have got no money, then assumption does not do you any favours. If you believe that people do, you can actually deal with that from a sales perspective. So I think the first thing that people should do is actually have that perception that people are still willing to buy if you have a product or service that people actually want to have, like Rolex watches, Ferrari cars. So that's your prestige brand. Then if you look, the other thing that people do, they buy on continuity. So let's look at something like, I'm not using the brand, but let's say a really well-known ketchup brand, okay? Like it's red and it's ketchup. So if we look, for a lot of people, that is their ketchup of choice. So when they go into a store to buy that ketchup, they don't actually look at the price because they've already got that brand loyalty. But what people do buy, and this is the psychology behind it, is they buy on offers. So if you look at a buy one, get one free, or a buy two, get one half price, or we actually do as a consumer like an offer. So when it comes to looking at putting an offer together, they really struggle with that. And what they do is they move on to price, and it becomes a race to the bottom. They don't know the margins. They're starting to lose money. And that's a dead sure way of actually, not letting your business survive.
You've talked about a couple of really big brands there, so Rolex and the big ketchup manufacturer. We can't guess who you're talking about. But I can hear also people saying, yeah, but hang on, they've got socking great big marketing budgets behind them and a track record. So, I'd love to hear more about this concept of offers and how we might tailor those, particularly if we are startups and don't have those great big brands behind us to trade off.
So first of all, I believe that you can create your own marketing strategy without having a big budget. And the reason I say that is I've become, in the business space, quite high profile, and I started my business with no cash whatsoever, just a lot of hard work, a lot of collaboration. And I think that's, if you look at how you grow your profile of your product or your service as a small business, collaborating with bigger businesses will help to grow your profile. So again, it takes longer to do it organically, but it is possible. But what I would say is, if you look, the easiest people to sell to are your existing customers. That's the easiest, because they've already bought into you, they are brand loyal. And if you look, when it comes to offers, if, you know, obviously we've got product businesses and we've got service businesses, but to create a service product doesn't actually cost you that much. But what you can do is you can charge extra for that. And if you look at that offer, you can expand. I call it the bingo strategy, right? So if you look at my sweet spot really is business to business, because I do believe a lot of business to consumer is a hole-in-one for marketing. It's a marketing function. But if you look, you know, my top tip is that people create a list of their existing clients down the way, and then the products that they sell across. And again, it's like a bingo card, isn't it? You've got all the things. And if you think, okay, these people will buy this product from me, they're brand loyal. If I had another product or service, I'm bringing out more big brands, but hopefully it will help smaller businesses to understand. If you think about Dyson, we started off vacuuming our homes, and now we dry our hairs with the product. Now we use, and again, it's the same type of strategy that creates something in your space, and that will then increase the basket for your existing clients. And that's where the offers can come in, because if you know your margin, if it's a service product and it costs you virtually nothing to make it, that again, you can make additional revenue for that. And it's quite good fun when you use the bingo strategy, because I think sometimes people think sales in business can be a bit laborious, and let's face it, it's hard. It is hard, and it is, you know, literally some days you feel like giving up. Some days you're like, oh, I've got this. And I know I'm talking about that firsthand, because even now, some days I think, is this worth it? And then you find that, you know, you reinvigorate, find the strength and find the energy. And I think that comes to really focusing on the purpose of why you set the business up in the first place. That's the thing that keeps you going. So I think the offers are possible, but you really, again, you need to know your margins around it. And that's where I see a lot of small businesses just don't know the numbers.
And Alison, we've talked a lot about bigger companies, bigger budgets, and we've also mentioned the cost of living crisis. You know, what can small businesses do in a very e-commerce driven world that we're living in at the moment? What are the sales strategies that they can employ? Again, with limited budgets.
Yeah, I think limited budgets are great. So obviously there's collaboration. So we've looked at collaboration. But if, for example, you've got a shampoo product, let's say people become brand loyal, then you can work on your social media strategy or your marketing strategy to get them to buy from you direct, so that you'll make more money on there. Entrepreneurship can be the loneliest planet in the world. People just do not understand, and it's all consuming. So really collaborating with people that have got, for example, I collaborate sometimes with somebody who is in marketing, the easy side of the world, you know, whereas I'm in sales.
Not fair.
But if you look, that collaboration, I've got skills that she doesn't have, and she's got skills that I don't have, and actually that makes our offering double as strong as it was before. So I think that it's, you know, the collaboration with other businesses, helps you really just enjoy the journey a little bit more, but also being able to look at how you do that. And again, it's double the social media, it's collaborating. Like for something like Small Business Saturday, they've got X millions.
Just on that, what is Small Business Saturday? Tell us.
So Small Business Saturday was originally created in the US by Amex. And then I think it was 2013 in the UK, Michelle Ovens, CBE, put together Small Business Saturday UK, and every single year they celebrate for the month of end of November to the beginning of December 30 small businesses who are like the champions, people who have just done something differently, or, you know, they've been tenacious, or they've just got a great story or a great product. And what happens is they get a day to celebrate. That's their day. And then usually about the 5th or the 6th of December, that is Small Business Saturday. So that's when everybody's encouraged to shop small, to shop local. And I think the knock-on effect of that is once people get into the habit of shopping local or shopping small, they can see the benefits to their community. And I think that's the thing. It's, you can't... I get asked a lot about the high street, and I can remember I was commenting in BBC News about Beale's department store, and they said, well, what was the reason you think that Beale's department store failed? And I said, because they didn't change at the right time. You change on the way up, not on the way down. And I think as small businesses, we're always on the way up. We're agile. We can move quickly. We can do things differently. If our social media is not working, we can organically do that. And I think that's where... you, as a startup business, you're the chief, what is it they call it? The chief cook and bottle washer. You do absolutely everything. But as your business starts to grow, you look at your strengths and then you can outsource to another small business. So maybe it's your social media and really that side of things. But again, you cannot do that until you know your numbers and know how to make money in the business. Because people say to me, what's your secret? What is the secret to a successful business? I know it gets really complicated, but actually sell more stuff, spend less money, stay in profit.
So, Alison, we've got to say goodbye. We're out of time for this week. Eshita, I think our lessons are spend more, sell more things, and don't forget the wholesale market as well as the retail market. But Alison, so many pearls of wisdom there. So on behalf of Eshita, myself and all our listeners, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
So now on to the 3 actionable steps on how to adapt your business to the cost of living crisis.
That's right, Eshita. And step 1 is make it personal. Understand your customer's buying motive.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting. When you have a small business, when you're just starting out and thinking about your product or service, it's so important to draw out user personas. I didn't actually know much about this, but it's really figuring out who are the customers that are buying your products, what motivates them, what gets them to tick, and really, all these small gestures that you can make just to make them feel appreciated. They go a really long way. So keep it personal.
I agree. And actually asking them what they want. People are really willing to tell you and give you. I found that feedback if you go out and ask them. So I agree. It's a really rewarding exercise to do.
Step 2, relationship building is key with your clients and customers.
I think that's true, Eshita. And we've found a Boring Money, I write a weekly blog, goes out to about 20,000 people, but it has a really high open rate. About half of our recipients
That's
open
amazing.
it every week.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably because I don't tend to write so much just about the business subject matter. I'll kind of make it a bit personal, talk about what I've been up to that week, good and bad. And so I think what it means is people feel some sort of personal connection with the business. It's more than just a brand and a sort of
that's
service
selling you
provider.
things all the time. Yeah,
I think so, yeah, and it gives them something back. It's
Yeah.
not always sort of saying, right, I'm only talking to you because I want you to give me £15 today. It's actually saying, I know you, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, there's a relationship here and we've got that conversation going. So I found that really key.
Yeah, I really like that one. And I think it just sort of makes it more personal than one of these big companies that we're anyway sort of competing with.
I think that's true. And that's certainly what social media has enabled us to do, what blogs have enabled us to do. It's sort of removed that corporate sort of stiffness from the conversation and the relationship we can have with our clients.
And finally, step 3, surprise and delight.
Surprise and delight people. It's quite hard sometimes, isn't it, when you're sort of like struggling with accountants and lawyers and you go, right, surprise and delight, what can we do? But I found actually it's really interesting to try and explore what motivates people and how you can recognise loyalty with customers and for us with our readers. And a small example, I mean, we run some consumer panels. We've tried to give people vouchers from big department stores to incentivise them. And that does kind of work. But really oddly, what people wanted, and we did something that was quite a big exercise, involved lots of reader feedback. People wanted a Boring Money hoodie. And things like mugs,
Merchandise.
So, here's my tip. We found out the other day we can spend £3.79 and get a branded cup or a mug posted out to some of our readers.
Amazing.
So I think it's small things, and it's also sometimes it's the unexpected. So it isn't just a monetary exchange. Sometimes it's a much more personal touch, something where people feel you've actually, as the founder, taken the time to reach out to them. So one other thing I like doing is every week I'll email personally about sort of 5, 6, 7 of our readers and have a bit of a dialogue with them. And I personally love that because it reminds me why I'm doing the job I'm doing today. It's one of the best bits of my week.
And I think it keeps you in the loop and the pulse of what, your customers or potential customers are thinking about.
Absolutely.
And that's the end of our episode. Thank you to Alison for all her insights and knowledge.
We're here to help equip you for your business journey. We really hope you found today's episode useful with some top tips and takeaways.
And if you're looking for more information on the topic, you'll find even more invaluable resources on the Royal Bank website. Until next time.